Protect your car with 3W Liners all-weather floor mats. Made from durable materials like TPE and rubber, our mats are designed to withstand rain, snow, and mud with deep grooves to trap dirt and liquids. For a custom fit and advanced protection, visit 3W Liners. That's the number 3, WLINERS.com today. At Casas, innovation drives us. Since 2008, we've been creating cutting-edge technology products that make your life easier. With a focus on performance, design, and customer service, we're here to help you work smarter, not harder. Join us on our journey to simplify your world. Visit acasas.com today. That's ACASIS.com today.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farms, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com. Unlock a world of convenience with Mully Box, your one-stop solution for personalized subscription boxes delivered right to your door. From gourmet snacks to unique finds, each box is tailored to your taste. Experience the joy of surprises. Subscribe today at mullybox.com. That's MULLYBOX.com. We are Rogue Media Sports.
Hello, welcome in. It is the Cam Show on Rogue Media Sports Network on this Friday. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. Zach Burke keeps us on the air. We are live on YouTube, just as we are every weekday, and then available, of course, wherever you get your podcasts as well. You saw the title of this one. We've got to talk about Rafael Devers. Man, he is now at war with the Red Sox front office, and I'm a little surprised at how split down the middle this Red Sox fan reaction has been. I will not be all that sympathetic. Also, Jordan Hudson, banned from the North Carolina facilities or not? And how is this going to end for Bill Belichick in Chapel Hill? Plus, we have our Friday segment with Zach Burke. We're going to talk about the most overrated player of our lifetime. One of each. That's all coming up on the Cam Show. We start with Rafael Devers. Thursday started off as a great day for Rafael Devers. Hits a home run, drives in a couple of runs. He's really, kind of found his form. The Red Sox take the series from the Rangers after dropping the first one, and now they go out on the road with a little bit of momentum. And then there was this atomic bomb set off in the Red Sox clubhouse before they left for Kansas City. Because for the first time all week, Rafael Devers had to talk to the media. Since Triston Casas got hurt, he has been turning down interview requests because he knows what question is coming. And now the time has finally come for him to address it. He obviously talked through a translator and said, quote, "I know I'm a ball player, but at the same time, they can't expect me to play every single position out there. In spring training, they talked to me and basically told me to put away my glove," which we have heard from other sources. He goes on to say, "I wasn't going to play another position other than DH. Right now, I don't think it would be an appropriate decision by them to ask me to play another position." Goes on to say, talking about Breslow, goes on to talk about the situation. He said, quote, "They told me that I'm a little hard-headed, but they already asked me to change positions once. This time, I don't think I can be as flexible. I don't feel they stayed true to their word. They told me I was going to play this position, DH. Now they're going back on that." And on Breslow, he said, he played ball, talking about Craig Breslow, the general manager. "I would think he knows that changing positions isn't easy. They put me in this situation. They told me they didn't want to play any other positions." So now this is a war between Rafael Devers and the front office, and potentially Rafael Devers and his manager, Alex Cora, and the front office. What he is telling you is, A, the Red Sox lied to him, which he's basically said before, and B, he's not going to play first base. The Red Sox desperately need a first baseman, a guy who can play every day there, and preferably one that's already on their major league roster so that they can call up one, if not both, of their top prospects. Rafael Devers, the face of this team, the highest paid player on the team, in terms of the length of the contract, $30 million a year, is telling you, no, I am not going to do that. What do you expect me to play every position out there? Because in reality, in 7 years in the major leagues, almost 8, Rafael Devers has been asked to play 2 positions, real positions. He came up as a third baseman. He's now been asked to play first base. They switched him to DH, which, let's be honest, isn't really a position. It's already a position he was doing, hitting. He's not learning a new position. He's learning a bit of a new process, but he's not learning a new position. And now he's sitting out here saying, why would they expect me to do that? And the problem I have with this is, A, he's certainly not the only player they asked to do this. He's probably their best option because of his body type and the fact that he's played the other corner of the infield before, and that they could plug in anybody to DH. They can't just plug in anybody to play first base. It's the one that makes the most sense in terms of his body type and what he's already doing and what he's already giving the team. But he's not the only one they've asked, I'm sure. It's just the best fit. And so for him to say no as the best fit, like any way you slice that, that's not helping the team. You can say, oh, well, this isn't fair to ask him to do this. And if you had this at your job, he's not helping the team. This is anti-team. He's not only not helping them, but now he's attacking the GM. And rarely do I have sympathies sympathy for general managers, but that is what's happening here. Rafi Devers is the most, I mean, it's the best fit at first base. I know it's not the best fit in the world, but for this team, it's the best fit at first base, and he is refusing to do it. You are paying him $30 million a year, and he's telling you, I'm not going to do what's best for the team. I'm going to do what's best for Rafael Devers. And now a lot of Red Sox fans have rushed to defend him because of the incident in spring training and Craig Breslow allegedly telling him that he was going to play third base and that they weren't going after Alex Bregman. I still do find that hard to believe because it was pretty public, the whole Bregman and Arenado chase for a couple of months there. You know, it would need Rafael Devers to be really naive to not think they were bringing in a third baseman. But if that's the way you want to go, that's the way you want to talk about it. Like, okay, fine. He was lied to. But this kind of stuff happens all the time. And break glass in case of emergency situations happen all the time, which is what has happened with the Red Sox right here. Their first base, they didn't count for their first baseman to be out for the season in the first week in May, the first day in May. They weren't counting on that. And so when your team needs you to step up, you should be stepping up, especially if you're the face of that team. And I saw a thread on Twitter yesterday, and it was a really good one. Some might find it harsh, but I thought it was really good. It was about all these players, these superstar players who have stepped up and made position changes when their team needed it. Bryce Harper playing first base for the Philadelphia Phillies. Guess what? He didn't come up a third baseman, if you can believe that. Hanley Ramirez played first base for this team. Hanley Ramirez. Not exactly like, oh, yeah, team first guy, Hanley Ramirez. They traded for Kyle Schwarber in the middle of a pennant run in 2021. He had never played first base. And you know what he did? They needed him to play first base. He played first base. Mike Napoli was a catcher. Became a World Series champion as a first baseman. Mookie Betts came up as a shortstop and a second baseman. He ends up playing right field, becoming a platinum glover and becoming the best player in baseball on the best team in baseball. Victor Martinez came up as a catcher, played first base. This is from Sammy James, by the way. I found it on Twitter, obviously. Fernando Tatis flips between the infield and the outfield. Like, it happens all the time, and yet we're like, well, Rafi Devers can't do it because they're asking him to do something that's unfair. They're asking him to play first base in the middle of May. It's not like they're asking everyone else, and the solution is, oh, why don't you get Roman Anthony to do it? Because he's coming up, and it will get him a spot in the major leagues. And I understand that. But it's like, okay, if we're looking at it through a vacuum here, you've got a guy who's played corner infield in the major leagues for 7 years, and it's like sacrilege to ask him to play first base. But the guy who's come up as a 20-year-old and has come up as an outfielder, we can just put him at first base to start his major league career. How does that logic make sense? How is one crazier than, how is the Rafi Devers one crazier than the Roman Anthony one? I don't understand that. And I just don't have any sympathy for a guy making $30 million a year when they're asking you to go out there and play probably the easiest position to learn in the field. Like to learn and pick up in the middle of the season. I'm not saying it's just wicked easy. Everyone can just pick up a glove and do it. But you know, he's not being asked to play shortstop. I know he made a crack about, oh, if the outfielder gets hurt, they'll ask me to play there too. No, they won't. Because they have a guy in Roman Anthony who's ready to come up and play in the outfield. And then I see people just dragging Craig Breslow, not because of the supposed lying in spring training, but because, oh, he didn't have any depth. This is Breslow's fault. He didn't have a roster construction because he didn't have any depth at first base. And so now you have to ask Rafi Devers to play first base. To which I say, what are you talking about? They have Romy Gonzalez. They have Abraham Toro. That's depth. You had 2 extra first basemen. But they're not guys who are going to play 120 games for you. They're not good enough for that, but they are depth. But that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about a guy who is to come in and play first base every day for what's supposed to be a playoff team. And the face of your franchise is not willing to do that. Meanwhile, the guy you brought in to play third base, Alex Bregman, was ready to switch to second. And he said, look, I'm just happy to be on this team. I'm happy to be Rafael Devers' teammate. Like, which guy would you rather have in the locker room? I know Rafi's won a World Series. Bregman's won 2. He's been in the ALCS every year of his career except for 1. He's been in the postseason every single year of his career. And he's the one saying, yeah, I'll do it. I'll switch positions. I'm here to do what's best for the team. Where did we lose our way? Where that became, where that was not the mindset that we wanted our star players to have. Now we're babying Rafael Devers, who's calling out his general manager to the entire media after ducking them for days and not facing the questions. And now it's everybody else's fault but Rafael Devers. Like, I don't have sympathy for that. I'm sorry. We've seen it time and time again with this organization. Guys who have been superstars at point, Hanley Ramirez had won a batting title in his career. Kyle Schwarber was in his prime, goes on to, lead the league in homers the next year. And they were willing to do this. They were willing to move positions. JD Martinez could barely move, and he was willing to play outfield in 2021 because they needed him to. But yet the only guy that isn't allowed to do that is Rafael Devers. Oh, God. Why? No, why would we ask Rafael Devers to switch positions? It's not like he's in a contract year. He doesn't have any extra value. I said this about, switching off a third base to DH a couple months ago. It's not like he has any value, like he's losing value by playing a different position. He's got his contract. He's got his career contract here. He's making $30 million a year. You have committed as much as you can, as much as you have for anybody else in that clubhouse. You're saying, Rafi, you are our franchise guy. Who cares what we said about third base? We're showing it to you in the fucking paychecks you get every month. You are our franchise guy. And what this has shown us is that he cares more about Rafael Devers and looking bad at first base than he does about helping his team win baseball games. And yes, maybe that makes me old school, but I've got a problem with that. And this is the second time he's whined and bitched and moaned about having to do what's best for the team. I don't know where we as fans lost our way, but that used to mean something. That used to make people pissed off that they weren't going to help out the team, that they were in it for themselves. But I guess, I guess that's not the thing anymore. I guess that's not how we feel. Now we're gonna blame the GM for not having depth guys, even though that's all they have right now are depth guys. They don't have starting guys because their starter got hurt. It's ridiculous. And Rafael Devers is acting like an absolute child about this. And we'll see who's kind of left out there to the wolves, man. At this point, I'm still on the Christian Campbell playing first base train here. That way you can get both of your prospects up. You can get both Anthony and Meyer up. And Campbell, you're clearly not really 100% committed to playing him at one position anyway. You're throwing him out in center field where he doesn't really know a lot. He's barely a second baseman. And he's been pretty solid there, but you're committed to moving him around anyway. Then, all right, then you have a hole at first base. But the way Rafael Devers has responded to this, and the way he responded to the third base thing and the DH thing, like, that's not a leader, man. That's not a guy who should be the face of your franchise. If I'm seeing that and Bregman continues to hit the way he does, I would be like pissing my pants at night if I'm Craig Breslow that Alex Bregman's going to opt out, because that's clearly a leader on your team. That is clearly the leader in your clubhouse right now. Because Rafael Devers is not that. He's still a damn good player. He's a damn good hitter. And from the bat he gives you, I don't want to trade him, but he's not a leader. He's been anything but. And I don't want to trade Rafael Devers, but you've got to imagine, by the way, that could be on the table. He was already close to asking for a trade from this third base fiasco. He left spring training, again, like a child, pouting in the corner, left spring training, and then was about to ask for a trade by all reports that we heard in March. And now he's even more pissed off. You don't think he's going to ask for a trade now? The guy he doesn't want to make the sacrifice. It's a 162 game season. They are professional athletes. The teams that win make sacrifices. And it is really damning, and it's a hell of a red flag when your best player, your franchise face, does not want to make that sacrifice. And that's how it's going to lead to a situation where even though Rafi Devers is still the face of the franchise, he's not going to be a fan favorite here. He's not going to be a fan favorite. It's going to be Bregman for playing well and saying the right things. It's going to be Christian Campbell for playing well and saying the right things. It's going to be, go up and down the list. Duran as a guy who kind of popped out of nowhere and is saying the right things. William Abreu, who is saying the right things and doing the right, Rafi Devers doesn't fit into that right now. He's not saying the right things. And he's not acting the way a leader's supposed to act. And I just couldn't believe this tirade yesterday, man. He's just acting like such a child. And I don't know where we lost our way along the way, because I see so many Red Sox fans just rushing to defend this guy who's making $30 million a year and is actively not trying to help his own team. It's ridiculous to me. But what is it to you? Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. It's completely free and helps me keep my job of bringing you nothing but Boston sports content 5 days a week. Check out the other videos on the channel on YouTube, talking the Red Sox and all the other Boston sports teams. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. Zach Burke keeps us on the air 5 days a week, live on YouTube, and then wherever you get your podcasts. Coming up, we've talked a lot about Jordan, and this whole fiasco at North Carolina. This is the banner day for it. Is she allowed in the facility or is she not? Is she even going to be in the picture when the Carolina Tar Heels take on TCU week 1 of the college football season? We'll talk about that next on The Cam Show.
We'll be right back after these quick words from our sponsors. This is Rogue Media Network.
At Open Goal USA, we're revolutionizing training for both soccer and lacrosse with our innovative portable rebounders. Perfect for players of all ages and skill levels, our rebounders improve accuracy, control, and technique in both sports. Built with premium materials for durability and ease of use, they're ideal for training anywhere, anytime. Whether you're perfecting your soccer game or sharpening your lacrosse skills, Open Goal USA has you covered. Visit OpenGoAAALUSA.com and elevate your training today.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious. Find your blend at hempdelicious.com.
Introducing Muck-Off's classic pink bike cleaner, powered by revolutionary nanotechnology that breaks down dirt and grime on a microscopic level while protecting your bike's delicate finish. Developed by our mad developer Alex and tested by riders, our products are made by riders for riders. Discover more at us.muc-off.com, where we break the mold to bring you the best in bike care.
Visit roguemediamusic.com for more music.
Are you ready to take control of your health? At 4U Health, we believe wellness and lab testing should be accessible, inclusive, and yes, fun. With our tech-powered at-home lab test, you save time and money while feeling your best. Say goodbye to long waits and office visits. Check your health on your own terms with 4U Health. Visit 4uhealth.com today and free yourself from traditional medicine. That's the number 4uhealth.com.
And now, back to our show.
Welcome back to the Cam Show, Rogue Media Sports Network. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. Zach Burke keeps us on the air. We're live on YouTube, just as we are every weekday, high noon Eastern time. And then wherever you get your podcasts as well. Talked about the Rafi Devers situation in the first segment. Yeah, not a fan. Not a fan of the way he's acting. Not a fan of the way he is blatantly disregarding what is best for the team. But I digress. Now we talk about something even weirder, the Jordan Hudson situation. So I wake up this morning to an update about Jordan Hudson, an update and about like 3 text messages about it, which is more than none. Okay. It was weird that I'm getting this text about an update about a 24-year-old woman, but it was from Pablo Torre is the update. And it was that he had heard from a source that Jordan Hudson, Bill Belichick's girlfriend, was banned from UNC's football facility. Boy, it sounds a lot like the Alex Guerrero deal. Banned. And that one Belichick family source added, quote, there is deep worry for how detrimental Jordan can be for not just North Carolina, but for Bill's legacy, his reputation, everything. What? I mean, we weren't really shocked by that when we saw it, were we? Like, okay, we knew something like this was going to have to come. She is becoming a detriment for Bill's legacy and therefore for UNC. I mean, I guess any publicity is good publicity, right? But then about an hour or two later, North Carolina, once again, having to play defense here, comes out with their own statement. This is from Chris Vanini and from a UNC statement. While Jordan Hudson is not an employee at the University of North Carolina Athletics, she is welcome to the Carolina football facilities. She will continue to manage all activities related to Coach Belichick. So she is apparently allowed. But what has come out of this craziness, this crazy day, is that we are far from done here. We are so far from done here. And where there's smoke, there is fire. Like, this is one of the premier brands in college athletics. Not necessarily college football, but North Carolina is one of the great brands in college athletics. And if anybody knows how to damage control, it's big-time college athletics programs, okay? So just because there's a statement out here by like, yeah, she's fine, she'll be allowed in here, does not mean those sources within the program are lying. That Carolina is really worried about Jordan Hudson and about the image that's being put out here and that she could be detrimental to the football program. And UNC took a big-time gamble to bring in Bill Belichick, right? He had never coached in college before. And he's 70-some-odd years old. They just tried it, bringing Mac Brown back after 20 years away from UNC. And he was there for a couple of years. They won an Orange Bowl, or they went to an Orange Bowl, and that was about it. And so they're like, all right, we'll go with the 70-something-year-old guy again. Even though everybody's going with the 40-somethings and the 30-somethings, we'll go with the 70-something who's never coached in college before. That's a big risk. And they knew they were taking on that risk. The risk being he doesn't know how to coach in college football. It's a whole new world out here. Like, can he keep up with it at his age? They didn't think the risk was going to be, boy, what if he has a 24-year-old girlfriend that runs everything in his life and is going to make us look like a bunch of putzes? That's not what they were expecting. And here it is at their doorstep. Now what are they going to do? There is a slight chance that Belichick never coaches a game for the North Carolina Tar Heels. I am not ready to just rule that out. Okay? Like, there is a chance he never makes it to that TCU game in late August. Like, if this gets worse, they might just be like, you know what, Bill, we're not dealing with all this. If you're not going to get her out of the picture in terms of football, you can bang her all you want, like, whatever. There, but for the grace of God, go all of us. But she needs to not be involved in this football thing whatsoever. And if you can't keep her out of there, then you know what? We'll have Steven coach the team. Or we'll just have one of the other assistants coach the team. Like, we're good. We don't need all this. And the crazy thing that I keep going back to is that Bill Belichick shouldn't need all this. What's the craziest part about all of this to me is that she's getting herself in trouble, not just being his girlfriend, but being his PR woman. And there's been no better one-man band of celebrity and PR guy ever than Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick hasn't answered a question in 30 years. He doesn't need a PR professional as in Jordan Hudson. He doesn't need a 24-year-old woman doing this for him. He doesn't. He doesn't need a 45-year-old guy doing it for him. He's Bill Belichick. He's the best ever at not answering a question. The best ever. Like if you're talking about best PR people, it's Belichick, Paul Newman, Dolly Parton, man. Like they don't need this. So that's what it's the most unnecessary position in Bill Belichick's life that is bringing down his legacy. Like truly, I don't know if it'll matter in 30 years, but right now it matters. Right now, Bill Belichick is a joke. He's a punchline because of this 24-year-old PR professional that he's also banging that he doesn't even need for his PR. I just don't get it, man. And the other thing that keeps popping up is that video of him doing the walk of shame outside someone's Ring doorbell camera 3 years ago or whatever it was. Is there any chance in hell that's not Jordan Hudson? Any chance in hell? Hell of a PR person. Jordan Hudson's Ring doorbell camera is the one that reveals Bill Belichick doing a walk of shame with his shirt off. Huh. Hell of a PR person you got there, Bill. Coach. I'm ready to put it at this ultimatum. He's either not going to coach week 1 for North Carolina or she's not going to be his girlfriend week 1. I think that's what we're getting to here. The family's worried about it. His employers are worried about it. Like if Bill wants to go off into the sunset as Bill Belichick, the greatest football coach of all time, and continue this crap, he can. He's just probably not going to be able to do it at North Carolina. One of these things is going to happen, I think. I think that's what it's going to come down to. This is the man, the ultimate no distractions guy. You know, he let a marriage slip away, a marriage of, decades with the mother of his children. He had a longtime girlfriend who stood by his side, who was age appropriate, through a lot of shit. He let that waste away. And now he's going to risk his entire, 50 years of building up, being the greatest coach in the history of the sport for Jordan Hudson. Then so be it. You're just not going to be the coach at North Carolina. And I do feel some sympathy for UNC because I guess they didn't know this was coming. But in the interview process, I'm sure Jordan must have been involved. Must have been involved. And it's really too bad we didn't get that Hard Knocks so we could see all of this play out on camera. But this just gets weirder and weirder. What is going on here? Carolina puts out the statement, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if we don't see Jordan at the facility anymore. Like somebody's got to draw a line here. And the ultimate line drawer in the history of sports has been Bill Belichick, right? He has not been afraid to cut or trade anybody. He cut a defensive captain who had won the Super Bowl for him. I mean, arguably his favorite player on the defense a week before they started the season one year. He was ready to trade Rob Gronkowski. He was ready to trade Tom Brady. And he's not willing to tell Jordan Hudson, no, cut the shit. You're out of this. We can sleep in the same bed because that thing too good, but enough of my football life or my public perception. I've got a job to do here. I've got a legacy to upkeep. You don't know what that means, but I do. Keep dating for all I care. It's fucking weird. It's creepy, but go ahead. Whatever. But someone's going to draw a line where it comes to Bill Belichick's football life here. And I'm telling you, it's either going to be him coaching at North Carolina in September and not being in a public relationship with Jordan Hudson, or he's still going to be with Jordan and going to be on her Instagram and going to be doing Pilates, and he's not going to be coaching football on Saturdays. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Only about 10% of you watching are actually subscribed. We're bringing you nothing but Boston sports content and those related to it every day of the week, every day of the week, live at high noon Eastern time on YouTube, and then wherever you get your podcast. I'm Cam Stewart. Zach Burke keeps us on the air. Check out the other videos on the channel, talking nothing but Boston sports, Patriots, Bill Belichick, and everything else going on in this city. Find us and help us on the road towards 4,000 subscribers. We need you. Coming up next, it's our Fun Friday segment with me and Zach Burke. We're going to talk about the most overrated athletes of our lifetime. Ooh, I can't wait. Mine is going to be on brand, but it will ruffle some feathers. Let's talk about it next on The Cam Show.
We'll be right back after these quick words from our sponsors. This is Rogue Media Network.
paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com. Overwhelmed by your inbox? Clean Email is here to help. Organize, clean, and manage your emails with powerful automation tools. Say goodbye to spam and clutter and enjoy a stress-free inbox. Try Clean Email today at cleanemail.com. That's CLEAN email.com. Cleanse your body of accumulated toxins and embark on your wellness journey at your own pace. At Global Healing, we provide premium supplements to help your body heal naturally. Combine that with OrganicHemp.com's top quality CBD for ultimate balance. Start your healing journey today at GlobalHealing.com and OrganicHemp.com. Unlock a world of convenience with Mully Box, your one-stop solution for personalized subscription boxes delivered right to your door. Each box is tailored to your taste. Experience the joy of surprises. Subscribe today at mullybox.com. That's MULLYBOX.com. At Tusain's, we understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Committed to excellence, we adopt a user-centric approach guided by ergonomics and medical science. With a team of seasoned professionals in R&D, design, and manufacturing, we prioritize quality across our entire product line. Visit Tusains.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com.
And now, back to our show.
Back to the show that is the Cam Show on Rogue Media Sports Network. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. Zach Burke keeps us on the air. We're live on YouTube as we are every weekday, high noon Eastern time. And then we're available wherever you get your podcasts as well. I'd like to bring in Zach Burke if I could, because it's Friday. And this is what we do on Fridays. We bring Zach Burke in here and we just go over some topic that we've thought about all week long, night and day, about something we can kind of talk about, get on the same page about, because Zach is so sick of talking about Boston sports all the time. He's like, Cam, will you broaden your horizons and talk about something else? So that's what we do. That's what we do here on Fridays. And today on this Friday, I bring Zach Burke in here because we need to talk about something that's very important to me. And that is we are each going to pick the most overrated athlete of our lifetime. So that's roughly, I won't date Zach here, but roughly the last 30 years or so of watching sports. Mine's a little bit different, but anyway, Zach, your mic is muted. But I do want to get down and dirty into this. It could be any sport. It could be individual sports. Don't care. Zach, I don't want to push this any further. I want to start with you. Build it up. Who is your most overrated athlete ever and why? Of your lifetime and why?
So I thought about it a lot.
I hope
obviously.
So. I hope
yeah, I put a lot of time and effort into it. And even at one point in time, like I went through every sport too to try to think of like, all right, it's this person in this sport, and then try to compare. Mm-hmm. And so players that I came up with, there's a thing too that I noticed when I started having these thoughts, and I'm going to lay it out then of like what led into this decision of being overrated. Because at first I thought about just guys that were highly touted, but then never made anything. But that's not overrated in a way to me. That's just being a bust. So I thought of like, there's plenty of like guys you can see drafted top 5 picks and never turned out anything. That's not being overrated. Overrated to me was they were really good at one point in time, potentially. Like they do have some shine, and then they fell off a little bit, but that shine stayed for some reason. That's what I looked at when I thought of this.
Okay.
Somebody like a Ben Simmons kind of came up in a way, because there was a point in time where, like, a 3-time All-Star, like he finished 4th in Defensive Player of the Year, and everybody thought, Ben Simmons, next big thing. Now he is essentially the Rick Ankill of basketball. Like I feel like he has the yips in a way.
Right.
He doesn't want to shoot. He doesn't necessarily want to play all the time. And so I thought about him for a bit. I thought about a guy of like Tim Tebow, where, in the NFL for a bit, he was covered by the masses, but I don't think that people who watch football genuinely thought Tim Tebow was a good NFL quarterback.
No.
I think we can all think that.
No.
So as I racked my brain, and I don't know if many people will agree with me on this, but it's a guy that I bring up with, and it's a guy who was phenomenal at one point in time in his career. And then I feel like things changed and he's never been back to that point, even though people will want to bring his kind of name up, or he himself kind of thinks that. I'll give you some clues in a bit. It is a basketball player.
Okay.
He started out his career, I would say, as a star in the middle of America, in the Midwest, man. And that was his team. Okay. And everybody loved how hard this guy tried. And then he changed his jersey number, and then he gave himself a nickname.
Oh, okay.
And then unfortunately an injury happened. And I think after this injury, he has never been the same person, even though teams like to think he is. And maybe he himself likes to think he is. Would you like to take a guess?
No, I want you to tell me. I think I know who it is, but I want you to tell me.
It is one Paul George.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I sat there.
Out.
Yep. And as I was racking my brain and I'm thinking, there was a time in Indiana where like Paul George unfortunately ran into those Miami teams in the playoffs, but he was phenomenal. I do not want to take away early Paul George in Indiana because the guy could hoop. And then I think it was I can't remember. Is it 14, 15, whatever was Team USA? He had the
I want to say summer of 14.
I think you're right. I think it was like that.
But yeah,
he was out like 8 months, missed the whole like 14, 15
gruesome
season.
injury,
I think, really bad. And unfortunately, he's never been the same player after that, even though I think everybody else thinks he is. Remember, it wasn't too long after that when he came back, he forced his way out of Indiana. He becomes part of the Big Three in Oklahoma City, which might be the worst Big Three of a team that they put together. Yeah. Their first season there, they have woes through the season. Let's not forget his quote where they play a rookie-led Jazz team by one Donovan Mitchell.
Yep.
And the quote is, "Oh, are you worried about this? Huh? You guys must not have met playoff P yet." Well, here's the thing. Nobody ever met playoff P then because they lose to the Jazz in that first round, which is another given nickname. Also, he's a man of many nicknames because he gave himself the PG-13. He was coined Pandemic P during the pandemic.
He had a good year.
But he is a guy that I feel like is automatically, like when he went then to the Clippers and Kawhi and him were on the Clippers, people just automatically assumed, oh, wow, Western Conference Finals in LA.
Hey, but I'll say, though, that trade did build a monster in the Western Conference. It's just not the Clippers.
It's not the Clippers.
They just made the Thunder into what they are now. But the thing that, and I agree with you. I mean, like at one point, a super talented player. And I've got two distinct thoughts on this.
Okay,
the first one is he going to make the Hall of Fame?
He is. That's the thing, though, is he's going
because
to make
basketball's like that.
Everybody makes Hall of Fame.
Like, I think of his career, and I think it's very similar to like a Tracy McGrady, who was a terrific player in his prime and at one point, but I think that prime ended a little too early, and he held on for a long time and was just a jag, right? Yeah. Like, just was. And the other thing that I have about this, and what really sticks out, like, of making Paul George an overrated player is he goes to Philadelphia this past summer. And like, it had a lot of people in the know in the NBA saying, all right, Sixers are back in this fight. Sixers are back as Eastern Conference contenders. And you remember, because you were in the room while I was talking about it, being like, am I missing something? Like, Paul George has not been the Paul George you're thinking of in almost a decade now. And he's not reliable. He doesn't get on the court. And part of that, right, you have some sympathy. It's not necessarily the player's fault sometimes. But like, he's not that guy. And what are you talking about? You're giving almost a max deal to him. Like, what are you talking about? That's where I had to be like, he might be the most overrated player in the league right now, because people are thinking he's going to make a difference. People are thinking he's going to make a team significantly better right now in 2025.
Can I read you a stat line? Speaking of that season real quick, this is from the 76ers 4-point loss. I wanted to see the date, though. It's about 3 months ago. This is in February, right? Sixers close 4-point loss to the Nets. Paul George stat line that night: 2 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals.
Philly
blocks,
P.
1 of 7 from the floor, 0 of 5 from 3.
And like just going on
Now
vacations.
that is just one game.
Going
I know
on
to prove my
vacations while
point,
he's
but still.
out and injured. Like yeah, man. And I guess the good thing is he doesn't, I know we threw in some quotes there. He doesn't seem like a total dink, but yeah, I mean, just a guy who is a classic NBA. The NBA has so many of these, more than any other sport, of like those classic good offensive players that just never elevate a team. Like that, he had some good, solid Indiana teams when he was at his, what we now know as his peak. But they had a ton of solid role players around him on those Pacers teams. And he was never enough to be a superstar to build around. You know, you saw that with the Clippers, and obviously Kawhi was hurt all the time. You're seeing that now with Philadelphia. Like he's just, and there's so, I mean, you can go through the annals of NBA history and find a ton. Your guy, Tracy McGrady's another one.
Yeah.
I'm sure you could find a Celtic if you tried hard enough.
Sure.
That would fit that. But they're
that,
all over the place in the NBA, and Paul George just fits it perfectly as a guy who is never going to win a championship as anything but a bench warmer. Like, just no, it's not going to happen.
He had a window. There was a window.
And a window.
Again, unfortunately, it was,
and it's
that
mostly
injury
something
that
you can
killed
see
it.
in hindsight rather than foresight.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, maybe we'll be saying that about SGA in a couple of years of like, they never won the championship. And you're like, wow, maybe you just can't build a team around him. You know, I think we saw that with Harden after the fact in Houston as a good example of like, at the time you were like, yeah, this guy's a scoring champion. He's an MVP. There's no reason we can't build a championship team around him. And then after it fails year after year, you're like, well, maybe this just isn't the guy we think he is. Harden was a better player than Paul George, but you get what I'm saying.
No, I get that for sure. I'm just curious. I want to look something up real quick to give you this, and then we can get to yours, because I wanted to give you a career stat line, and I want to find somebody else just to kind of see. Okay. He averages a lot less points, but still. So,
okay.
Well, it's like
you doing like the player comparison tool, being like, I think I have something here.
I thought I did for a second, but but still, for his career stat line, Paul George, 20 points per game, 6.3 total rebounds, and I'm trying to find assists real quick, 3.7 assists, right? I looked at somebody, I guess it's not bad, who averages 16.1 points per game, 6.2 rebounds, and 2.4 assists. A little bit worse, not too far off. That's Tobias Harris. Nice. So, I mean, I was just trying to find a comp in a way. Like, Tobias Harris is a really good role player and a really good, like, can be a piece for something. And I think that's where Paul George might be now, but it did feel, and again, it's not all on him for being the overrated in a way of it's, you know, some of this comes from NBA fans lauding that on him and thinking, like you talked about with him going to Philadelphia, that, that this is the missing piece now with him and Embiid, Embiid there.
Yep.
But it's not the same PG. So that was, who I sat there and thought of. Also, I thought of a guy like Vince Carter for a bit, just because I think everybody thinks about him.
One. Yeah.
But I think everybody realizes just, I think NBA fans know that he was just a freak athletically, but that he just didn't have just the same peak numbers that some other guys did.
Yeah, I think it's kind of universally known, like, yeah, he wasn't going to be, Kobe Bryant. He wasn't going to be the focal point of a championship team. He's just not going to be that. Even though he was still with Toronto when the Nets made the finals.
I did have one Boston guy that crossed my mind, but I'll wait till you're done with yours before I think it was a different sport. So I want to see where you go.
Okay. So I'm going with baseball here.
And
the guy I'm going with here is a no doubt Hall of Famer. You've heard me talk about him before.
Okay.
Is definitely a Hall of Famer. No doubt. Like, you see the numbers, it's inarguable. He's a Hall of Famer.
Okay.
Which makes him one of the top 1% of players all time. But as soon as this guy retired, and in the 10 years since,
in your lifetime,
yes,
okay,
there has been nothing but filleting of this guy as one of the top 10 or 20 or 25 greatest players in the history of Major League Baseball, and the best ever at his position. And they just couldn't be more off base. And that guy is Derek Jeter. Again, I'll get this out of the way one more time. Derek Jeter is a Hall of Famer, a no-doubter, one of the best players of his generation, because he's a Hall of Famer and he played in that generation. He is nowhere near the greatest shortstop ever. He is not at all a top 30 major league player ever. I mean, I would struggle to put him in the top 50. And his career peak is not as great as you think it is. Okay? So I look at Derek Jeter, and I went by the peak years first. Because, like, again, the longevity and the championships and being a cornerstone of that team, no doubt. But when you try to tell me he's the best shortstop ever or a top 20 player ever, this is where you lose me. Because I'm a peak guy. I like looking at guys' peaks and finding out who the best ever at their position or of all time are. And I've made this argument on the show before, and I would love to go really in depth on the numbers sometime. I'm just going to use the player comparison tool on Baseball Reference. Yeah. His peak, Derek Jeter's, when he was winning championships, was not as good as Nomar Garciaparra's. Like, did Derek Jeter have a better career? Absolutely, 1,000%. Nomar Garciaparra, Hall of Famer? No, he's not. But at their peaks, who was the better player? Nomar Garciaparra was a better player, a better hitter, a better overall player. Neither of them were very great defensively. Neither at all. But you look at those peak years. I use 98 to 2004. They had both, Jeter came up in 96. Nomar came up really in 97. They were back-to-back Rookie of the Year winners. And the end of Nomar's peak is 04. Jeter, he's still a good player, but he's 30 at that point. So in that time, Jeter has the better WAR by one game over an 8-year span, and he has more hits than Nomar. Played in more games, got hurt less. So, hey, there's something to be said for that. Then when you get to the power numbers, Nomar, 8 more home runs. Nomar, more RBI. Stolen bases goes to Jeter. Okay, fine. Batting average. So again, we're getting past counting stats. Now we're getting into average stuff, which is what I care about. Batting average, Nomar. Okay. OBP, Jeter. But slugging, OPS plus, convincingly in Nomar's favor. Okay. I mean, he's beating him 932 to 868 in OPS. He is 10% better a hitter, according to OPS plus. 10% better. And again, against his peers, 2 batting titles to 0 for Derek Jeter. Jeter's got the Hall of Fame. Jeter's got the championships. He has a Gold Glove. I don't know how he got that, but he does have a Gold Glove. But Nomar, against his peers, was a better hitter. And if you look at how much the OPS plus, my favorite stat, how are they against the average hitter in their league? Not only does Nomar have it, but he's 10% better. That's kind of significant for 2 guys playing the same position. And I will also go on to argue on the position thing, as we've talked about before. Derek Jeter was not the best shortstop on his own team from 2004 on. Alex Rodriguez was a better shortstop and was far and away the better player. Like, Alex Rodriguez deserves to be in the top 25 list. Derek Jeter does not. And, like, if you're talking about the acumen of playing shortstop, he wasn't as good as one of his contemporaries, Barry Larkin, who's also a Hall of Famer. Jeter's got better hitting stats, but it's not like he's crushing Barry Larkin in a lot of these categories. He was not. And so you want to take it all into account, offense and defense. He's not Cal Ripken. He's not probably a little bit better than Robin Yount. I know it's 120 years ago, but he's not Honus Wagner, right? He's not defensively. He's not Ozzie Smith. He's not. He's a great player who's a Hall of Famer. He is not a top 20 player in history. He is not a top 3 or 5 shortstop in history.
Where does he rank shortstop-wise currently, though? Like, I just
he's not playing that right now.
No, I get that. Yeah, he's doing pretty. But I mean, like, I'm just curious. Then listening to all this, and I agree with you. Like, I'm with you on that stat. It's funny doing some research and looking through baseball, trying to figure it out. I thought a guy like Manny Machado, for some reason, just feels to me kind of like that. But I'm thinking and like listening to you, and I'm getting your points, and I'm trying to think of where Jeter would fit in then with like other shortstops in like today's game, and like, you know, just
where defense is less stressed.
Yeah, and I'm just curious then where then like does that make him like? I'm sure he finds a team then, but does that even like lessen his impact in a way?
Honestly, it might prop him up more.
Well, sure, fair enough.
It might prop him up more.
Just that was a question. But to get back to your point here,
by the way, Machado beats him every statistical category. Am I getting this right?
No. Really?
Oh, no. Sorry. Yep. For some reason, it only took their rookie years. I'm like, why is it that? What? Anyway, sorry. Yeah, I think he gets more propped up because there's less of a stress on defense. But to me, he's like Xander Bogaerts with more championships.
Yeah, no, I get that.
I get it, bro. He's the captain of the Yankees, and the Yankees are in a dynasty. Like I'm not naive in that. But he's just like, where does he rank on the Yankees all-time list? He's not a top 5 Yankee of all time.
No, because you got to have Ruth up there. You got to have Mantle up there. I mean, that's the thing is there's so many names.
Ruth, Mantle, Gehrig, DiMaggio, Berra, at least. Yogi Berra won 3 MVPs.
Yeah. People
forget that. Like, he's not, and maybe you put him there as the next guy because of the longevity. But then like, if we're talking peaks, who knows? Maybe he's not as good as Reggie Jackson. Maybe it's not Alex Rodriguez, even though he had some tough postseasons with the Yankees. He is not a top 5 Yankee of all time. How can you tell me he's a top 20 player? I know the Yankees have a great history. I know, Zach, I know. All right. But he's not a top 5 in his franchise ever. You look at his baseball reference page and you see, oh man, those are good numbers, Hall of Famer. But I like looking at the bold and seeing what he led the league in. One year it was WAR on a team that won the World Series. A couple of times it was plate appearances. Something to be said about availability. Once it was runs. Once it was at-bats. Twice it was hits. That's a nice career, man. That's not a top 20 player of all time. That's not. He makes 14 all-star teams. He finishes in the top 10 in MVP voting. Let's see, 5 or 6 times, just looking off this year. Like, that's a Hall of Fame career, man. It really is. It's just not a top 20. And I know you've heard it the last decade, this just continual propping up of Derek Jeter. And I'm like, man, he's had a nice career. Is he looking at some of his contemporaries? Is he the player that Albert Pujols was? Not even close.
Miguel Tejada might even be better.
I wouldn't go that far. But
okay, never mind. I'll take it back. I was just trying to think of another shortstop.
I like the fervor. I don't know. Tejada did win an MVP. I'll give him that. You wouldn't know it from Moneyball. But maybe he's the third best shortstop over that span of time, if you want to take all the numbers into it, right? Because A-Rod would be 1, and he overlapped a bunch with Cal Ripken, who would be a better overall player. Didn't win the championships that Jeter did, and didn't have that New York spotlight and the hot girlfriends and all that. But
it's the Yankee effect, right?
It is. Effect. And I get it. I think there's a broader East Coast effect too.
Because I thought about somebody I don't know why mine. It's funny that
I was waiting for you to say Michael Young. I was waiting for you to say Michael Young.
Oh, to throw, man.
to throw against Jeter.
Yeah. Well, here's the. Okay, this is gonna sound weird as a Texas Ranger fan. I love Michael Young, but I'm not as big of a Michael Young fan as all Rangers fans.
I think it's a generational thing, this generation thing of just throwing the term GOAT around.
Yeah.
So I'll give you a Boston athlete. Maybe this was the one you were thinking of, but this was a guy who was underrated throughout probably his whole career. Was not a top 5 player in the league, but was underrated throughout his whole career. And now I think to Celtics fans has become overrated.
Oh, so mine was baseball, but go ahead.
Okay. Mine was the guy I'm thinking of is Paul Pierce.
See, I thought about Paul Pierce for a little bit, but I think you're right. I think that while he played, he was underrated, but now afterwards, people are kind of he was the truth. And he was really good, what he did there.
Dirk, I think falls into the Jeter kind of category of great player, man. I'm not taking away from Dirk, but people now, towards the end, they were this is one of the 10 greatest players in history. I'm no, he's not.
Yeah. No,
he's really not.
The end for sure. There was a time though, that flu game and dude,
he had a great career.
Or not flu, but
I don't know that there was any point in his career that he was definitively better than Kevin Garnett. I think those guys have a great comparison, and he definitely was not as good as Tim Duncan. So that's where you kind of lose me as a top 10, top Duncan's, 15 argument. He's Duncan's a Hall of Famer.
The best, the best 4 probably.
Tim Duncan and Larry Bird, for my money, are the best forwards ever because I'm putting LeBron as a guard.
Oh, See, this is what we should have like an all-time draft sometime.
Okay,
I might put, and
maybe
then, like,
that's next
pair 'em
week.
up against each other. So what I was going to add real quick, my Boston
Yes,
guy,
I
he didn't play
hear
his
this.
career. He didn't play his career in Boston, but he did play some. He started in Kansas City.
Okay, give me some hints. I don't care. It's Friday.
So yeah, so
I do have to
played,
kind of take a shit, but
he played in Kansas City.
okay.
That's where he
But
got
he's
his
a Boston
start.
guy.
He is a Boston guy.
Okay.
He wound up, or he played there for a bit too, but he then wound up in Oakland. But he's mentioned in Moneyball as a piece that is leaving when they're trying to get good.
Carlos Pena.
No. Damn. Played in the outfield.
Oh, Johnny Damon. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought about Johnny Damon for a bit. Like, I get he has 3,000 hits.
He got close to
like
it.
the most. Or
He was like 2,700. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's kind of just like an unimpressive way to get those amount of hits in a way. I don't know.
Yeah, I think if he was a regular looking guy, if he looked like me, he probably wouldn't have sort of the fanfare. He was my first Red Sox jersey, actually.
Oh, was it Damon jersey?
Yeah, I thought it was cool. He looked like Jesus, and you know, he was a good
player.
player.
Is he in Fever Pitch?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Prominently displayed. Yeah, Drew
so.
Barrymore jumps into the outfield and runs behind him. There's one scene where an actual like one of the extras, like part of his season ticket family there, yells, "Johnny Damon, you got the sweetest ass in the league." It's a great line in it. Great line in it. One more thing before we go, to take you back into that time frame. Yeah. This is so non sequitur, but you might be the only one on this network that appreciates it. Okay. I was watching this Liverpool, it was the highlights of Liverpool playing in the 2006 FA Cup final the other day. Okay. 2006 was the operative thing here. Okay. And when they lift the trophy, the song that plays, and I'll bet if you do remember this, you haven't heard it probably since like 2006 or 2007. Okay. But it's that one, it was in a bunch of commercials, and it's that guy going, "I like the way you move." Do you remember that?
Yes. Where it just sounds like commercial, like just like, hey,
it had to be like a Verizon or Sprint commercial or something.
I'm pretty sure it was in like video games I played at the time too. It was everywhere.
Yes, but it wasn't quite as popular as like that Jet song, "Are You Gonna Be My Girl?"
Yeah,
which sounds a lot like it, but it actually had some mainstream success. Like, I'm telling you, had to be at a very exact time and place in history for that song to come up. Like, very exact. Like, we're talking, like, it doesn't even have the longevity of like the Burger King commercial songs right now, but it was fucking everywhere for a very short period of time, like a year. I like the way you move.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out who the hell sang this.
I mean, see, that's where it's like today that would be made by AI.
Oh, but yeah.
Back then, someone did that. Someone went to school for that.
Hold on. I'm trying to hear the chorus. That's not that big of a deal. It's the Body Rockers. See, it's dumb names
that
like
would make sense.
Too. Yeah.
Who would even know, dude? It could have been sung by the "Can You Hear Me Now" guy from the commercial. Like, it could have been.
And it was just auto-tuned at the time.
I like that the way you move. Yeah. That'll be stuck in my head all day. Paul George, Derek Jeter, overrated as holy hell. Thank you, Zach. I appreciate it. I love talking overrated. I love getting into the weeds of overrated. That's our show for today. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're here every weekday live at high noon Eastern time. And then wherever you get your podcasts, check out the other videos on the channel. And we will see you on Monday on a little ditty that we like to call The Cam Show.
Transform your workspace with Hanomi Ergonomics. From adjustable chairs to standing desks, we provide solutions for comfort and productivity, whether at home or in the office. Improve your posture, reduce strain, and work smarter. Visit us at hanomi.co today. That's HINOMI.co today. Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internex. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. Enjoy seamless, fast storage without compromising security. Visit Internex.com today and take control of your digital life. That's INTERNXT.com today. Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com. Tusains, we understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Committed to excellence, we adopt a user-centric approach guided by ergonomics and medical science. With a team of seasoned professionals in R&D, design, and manufacturing, we prioritize quality across our entire product line. Visit Tusains.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com.